always have these messages. Noel, we can't hear anything. Okay, we're ready. Let me hit record on here. Awesome. Share one group. Share. All right, let's do it. Oops, global. Awesome. All right. And if you guys that are on here live with us, if you guys have questions throughout, put them in the chat box, or if you're feeling social, I'll bring you on a video at the end and you can ask as well. Totally up to you. And then you guys that are watching on Facebook or anywhere else, there's a link there if you want to join us on Zoom. Feel free. So let's do this. This will be fun. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Excited for today and have an awesome guest with us here today who is crossing the country. She's maneuvering around. She's up in Washington, D.C. right now, and she's in the Northeast and here in the United States, and excited to connect with Taylor Simpson today, who is a spiritual, I just had a spiritual awakening mentor. That's what you have on your Instagram. I always try to get people's initial titles right, but she's so much more than that. I discovered her Instagram page not too long ago and saw all the love and light she was sharing with her audience and reached out to her and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me, and here we are today. So thank you for joining me, Taylor, joining us. And if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, any of these good things.
I love it. Well, first of all, thank you for reaching out and having me on. I've lived for these conversations. They're so much fun for me. So great to be part of this. So if you're new to me, what I'm a podcast host, I'm a motivational speaker. But what I really teach people to do is how to tap in to that frequency of abundance and money through. Oh, are you frozen? Can you hear me? Hang on, I'm coming through. There you go. Did I freeze?
No, you're good.
Yeah. So I teach people how to tap into the frequency of abundance and money through mysticism, science, and spirituality. So I like to say I'm like the female goddess, Dr. Joe Dispenza, teaching people really how to tap into their superpowers and create really abundant lives that are fun because of it.
I love that. You said Dr. Joe Dispenza was super inspirational in my journey because of what the bridging of the cycle is so important right now, because things that we talk about that maybe 20 years ago, maybe even sooner than that, it sounded like way far out there. Like woo-woo is like how I've heard it described. Now can actually be shown and scientifically and on charts and graphs and like measurements, and I've seen all these things. I went to one of Dr. Joe Dispenza's events in Cancun a few years ago and was like, that's super interesting to see like energy like in motion and like seeing how it how it can be measured and the meditation element and all these things. So I love this so much. I'm always curious with everyone because I know, Taylor, we all come here as little unconditional loving little babies, and for a time a lot of us forget who we truly are and maybe start comparing ourselves with some of the other humans and wondering why they're getting the questions right in class or why they're more athletic than us or whatever we might use as our excuse to not feel good enough. And then it's always my hope for everyone that we can have the light bulb come back on and remember who we truly are. Did you go from just unconditional loving little baby to what we see now with like out ever forgetting, or
wouldn't that be so boring if that was the answer? If we went from being unconditional babies to just like an amazing life, like so boring. I love a good challenge. I love a good failure, a breakthrough, an opportunity, and so. For me, it has not always been that way. I actually went through, I like to joke, I'm like a cat with 9 lives. I went through a period where I was in anger management. I was in Overeaters Anonymous. I was in a previous marriage that was not aligned and not healthy. I was working on Capitol Hill and for the UN. Again, on the outside, having this perfect life, but really it was created out of people pleasing, out of not being enough, out of holding my feelings in and not sharing actually how I felt, which then led to actual energy being built up into my body turned into rage and breaking things. And again, putting myself into anger management voluntarily. And then because I didn't know how to healthily communicate and share my feelings and be authentically me, that's what led to the Overeaters Anonymous. I was a binge eater. So there was about, up until 7 years ago that I was just dead asleep and not clear at all with who I was and who I was meant to be. And so I had to start doing that work, and that's kind of what got me to where I'm at now, to go back to who I was as a little girl, right? What lit me up, what made me happy, and that was playing in the dirt, right? Growing up on my grandparents' farm, just being silly, wearing tutus, rollerblading, roller skating. And so through that, there's, probably 15 years of my life, I completely lost touch with that little girl, but then slowly got back to who I am today. And I'm so grateful for like the whole, I like to say shit show I went through.
Haven't we all been through one of those? I'm sure most of us. I know how I have, for sure. And it's so interesting. Like, I love how you described there, and it's such a great reminder for us, and something that we could easily forget, like to play and to enjoy like ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, we take life so seriously, at all of us at different points of life. And once I got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, like tomorrow's not promised to me or to any of us, and if there's something that I actually enjoy, like, why am I like putting it off if I have an opportunity to do it right now? It just seems silly. And so that's such a big part. And then what we don't realize is, while doing those things that we enjoy, while we're in the frequency of play or happy or or even just at peace, that opens up the opportunity for so many awesome synchronicities, whether they be good ideas or human interaction, where it's like, I didn't even know you existed 5 seconds ago, and then now all of a sudden, we're talking. Now we're in a relationship. Now we're married. I mean, that's how it always is unfolding for all of us. And so, it's just always a great idea to, if you can do anything that has you in a vibration where you're feeling good, you're just wide open to awesome things that you want to experience in life. So I love that you highlighted that.
Yeah, and it was during that 15 window where I wasn't doing anything that was fun. I wasn't doing anything that was play or that made me feel good, because I was just so busy trying to like mold in with everyone else and be accepted by what looked good on the outside. And the moment I realized who am I, and realized, wait, I haven't been having fun for the past 15 years. I've been just drinking and doing all the drugs and everything but, right? Which, I guess you can call fun back then. But in the end, it's like, is it really fun? And so, And then the moment I made that switch, everything I could possibly want began just flowing to me. And that's why I'm so obsessed with teaching how to make that transition and how to really move into those higher frequencies and the, higher vibes, but that's like so overplayed right now. But how to really raise your act.
I love that, and I want to get into that. I was just joking with someone the other day, Taylor, and I find it interesting how, because the last time I was in corporate America, where I was doing anything where someone was telling me what to do or when to show up or any of these things, which I'm not slamming it out there for anybody that loves what they're doing. For me, freedom has just been my number one value. I just like to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And so 2013 was the last time that I've been in that environment. But I was joking with someone the other day about how, in that time, I was working sometimes 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And, all my office wanted to do was they set up the happy hour afterwards. We got 1 hour a day to go drink our sorrows away. And I love a good happy hour like anybody else. But it was just like, how come I can't have a happy day? Why do I have to just have 1 hour? And then not even stayed too long, because I got to get up and come back to this place tomorrow morning.
Done. Yeah.
So I just find it fascinating how they set things up to where it's like, all right, go give away all your time, and then you can have a happy hour, and then a weekend, a couple of days.
And it's even like the analogy of, right, speaking happy hour, right? It's like we as a society, that's actually, I've never thought of this analogy. We save champagne for celebrations. Why not have a glass of champagne on a Tuesday, right? Same thing. Why save play for your 2-week vacation or until you're retired, and instead just play on a random Tuesday? Go rollerblading on a random Thursday. And we forget that that's actually how we're supposed to live.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love it. It's anytime I could affirm for people out there to go enjoy their lives more, like I'm going to do it. And like what I've realized, and I'm sure Taylor, I know you realize this as well. Like if we don't have like direct communication with someone where we can share some of these thoughts and ideas, which is why I do the podcast and like to vibe with awesome humans like you, just like you do. Our example is going to be something that if I just have to show you playing out there and enjoying life, then I'm okay with that, because there was a time where I, like Taylor, was not spending any time focusing on what sounded fun, because for me, life was more about I'll be happy when. Like there was like phrases that were passed around like the business that I was in where it's like those that are willing to sacrifice today for the life that you have. So do today what others won't so you can have tomorrow what others don't, was like the famous phrase that was going around. I was like, and at the time, it was like, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. I'll give away 5 years or 10 years of my life and then have this magical life, on the back end, which, like, wait a minute, what if I don't make it to this magical back end that is not promised to any of us? So
No.
I love it. I love it. So now I'm always curious, like, obviously the light bulb, has come on for you, and you explained kind of what that looked like, and for you to shift it to wanting to share with others and now coaching the way that you're doing it. I definitely want to get into the raising of frequency that you mentioned, because for me, all I care about is like what my current present moment vibration is. And then Dr. Joe, when I saw like what was happening moment by moment, I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna focus on this, because if my vibration is where I like it to be in the moment, then everything else will take care of itself. So, but for you, how did it go from this shift of your awakening to wanting to share with others, and how's that look now for you?
Yeah. It's funny to live the life I do, where I truly am, like I lead from my heart. I lead to serve. And I remember I used to kind of hear people say that. I'm like, lead to serve. What does that mean? Like, what do you mean, like, serve from your heart? Like, you just like love people? Because again, the Taylor me 8 years ago would have been like, you're crazy. I don't even know what that means. And so that shift, and when you look back and as you asked them, like, wow, when was that shift? It really was when I did something that felt good. So when I went to anger management and over years anonymous, both of my mentors, like, you need to like move your body. You've got a lot. I'm a Leo. I'm a manifesting generator. I've got a lot of energy in my body naturally. So I joined a gym. I created an Instagram account to share. Fashion's always kind of my thing, just for fun. And I created an Instagram account to share my gym outfits, like my neon sports bra, my lime green shorts, my scrunchie, just for fun. Felt good. It started growing and growing, and people loved my outfits. And I started working out. It's my little 90-pound frame at the time, got muscle. And then people were like, how are you doing that? And so I just started sharing how my workouts were going and what I was doing. People were like, wow, you're so inspiring. And at that time, I was working on like learning about manifestation, law of attraction, right? The foundational work of frequencies. And I was sharing that on my fitness post. So people were like, wait a minute. Like, this doesn't make sense. But I kept sharing it and sharing it. And it felt so good to me, because in the DM, the comments of people saying, wow, like, I never thought to take responsibility for how I show up. Like, that it's not everyone else's fault. And so to hear people having these breakthroughs by simply me just sharing what was inspiring me, maybe a book I was reading or just a download I had. And so that was that pivot where I realized, oh, it's not all about me. The world doesn't revolve around me. And it's my responsibility to take what it's like to feel good, to be inspiring, to whether it's your child, someone on Instagram, your partner, doesn't even matter, right? Like, and teach people to own that themselves. Because how selfish of you to hold such like a precious and powerful gift, a life-changing gift, when if I have it, I'm like, give it away. And the moment I started doing that, of course, what's the result of us leading from our heart and giving, is we end up creating massive abundance. And so not only did I get to lead from my heart and give people what they needed to hear, but they made a big impact in my life, financially, emotionally, joy, all of that. There really was that moment of like, oh, it gets to feel good to help people, and it's an equal exchange of energy. And it was like, boom, light bulb.
I love that. And so there's some irony in what, Taylor, what you just shared there. And then Arjun, I see a question. He joined us yesterday from India, and he's here again. I saw, it wasn't even a question, it was more of a statement, but what Taylor just said is what I was going to give an additional possibility, because I'm all about just possibility. Like, what if there's an additional possibility that we can examine and maybe, take it as ours or maybe not. But I was just searching yesterday, Taylor. I was like, sometimes I'll get just downloads into my mind. It's like, I want to talk to some people that do this. And then I'll say, I bet you I can find some humans that have a hashtag that do that on Instagram. So what I searched for just yesterday was spiritual fitness. I was like, I want to talk to some people that are like combining like the health and wellness and the spirituality and, have some fun conversations with them. And so I was inviting people yesterday, and then you just shared your story as far as how you were combining the two. And as you were sharing, I saw like your bicep bulge. I was like, yeah, Taylor does have some, she did put some muscle on there. Side note. But yeah, so super ironic that was kind of how your journey and what you described as far as like being able to, share, both sides of it. The possibility that I want to share, because in the chat, Arjun said, rewarding ourselves every now and then helps us make ourselves happy and make us even more productive in our field. True. I invite you to ask to look at the possibility, Arjun, of what if your whole life could be like a reward? Like, what if it was just like every moment of every day you were doing something in alignment with what you felt like you were here to do, and you were helping people and you were having fun and you were enjoying. That's what I just felt from Taylor as she described her lifestyle now, is she found that she really got clear on what was important to her. And then as that was evolving, she's willing to share. And I'll share one more thing. Like, there's two things that I'm really grateful for that I've noticed like in myself that I wasn't super conscious of, that I was doing it from the time I was a little kid. Like, I always thought I was going to be a professional baseball player, athlete. I was always really good, played in college. And from the time I was a little kid, I didn't put any other humans on like pedestals where I thought like they were just like better than me. But I respected them and I wanted to learn from them. I was always open to learning because I was like, okay, you're here. You're obviously way older than me. When I get your age, I'm going to be here. So I don't want your autograph, but I want some like tips and techniques that I could go practice because I want to be like you. So I've always been open, but then I've also been, like you described, Taylor, willing to share that. Like, I'm not just going to learn from them. And so I was sharing things that I learned like with my friends, like my teammates and like anybody. Like, obviously I just want people to know what I know. And so I've always been an open receiver and also an open transmitter. And I'm just very appreciative for that because it serves us so well now here in life with what it is that we're doing. So
yeah, 100%. And even to kind of add to that, his comment in here is it's like beyond rewarding ourselves and actually owning that this is the way life is meant. We're meant to feel good. We're meant to feel happy, and like that's the reward. It's like just life. Life gets to be this way because that's just the way it is. It's just society and expectations and preconditioning that kind of clouds that until we obviously awaken to, oh, yeah, no, this is just the way life is supposed to be.
Absolutely. Arjun, I saw another comment. This is so good. I love this. Everything happens for a reason, and people are attracted. He told me the way that he found the conversation. He tuned in with me and an astrologer yesterday that I was talking to. And he was searching for, on the internet, I believe, just astrology, and found her Instagram page and then came onto the podcast and was able to ask her questions. So it's just cool how synchronicities like happen for all of us. But once we're open, Arjun, and this is what I like to share with everybody, once we're open to receiving new consciousness, from wherever they come, whenever they come, from whoever they come from at any moment, it's an ongoing forever thing. And it's just the most beautiful part of life. Once we are open to it and we don't think that we know it all, it's just endless possibilities. So he said, shouldn't we all be lucky enough to have such a life? I used to think that it was good luck. I thought that was how life worked before I got introduced to law of attraction and spirituality. I thought it was all about, because I hurt myself and couldn't play pro sports. So all those dreams that I had from 2 to 21, gone. And I was like, I just was very unlucky. And so only certain people have the success because they're the lucky ones and all this stuff. Once I realized there was way more going on than that, and just to be open to understanding what that was for all of us, leads to conversations like this and so many other things as we become more and more aware.
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
So Taylor, I'm always curious because anytime that I talk to another human being, and this is a conversation I would want to have with you anyway, because it's just fun to flow on all these different things, and we could talk about anything right now. But I'm always curious because this question, the answer would change if I asked you this 6 months from now or a year from now, because you're going to live 6 more months or a year of life experience where you are going to continue to evolve like all of us will. And so I'm always curious, like what your vision is for whether it be your life or humanity or both, as of this moment, because you're as clear today, like all of us are, as what we like and don't like and what we desire and don't desire because of all the life experience. So I'm always curious, like what your vision is as of this moment.
What, you say what was the vision? Okay, I love that. The first second, like right when you asked it, it like froze for a second. I was like, no.
Say it again.
Yeah, what's the vision? Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I mean, really, like, I mean, just kind of going with where we're at in the world right now, like the reality of it, right? Like, I was actually just sharing with some of my community it's all perspective and what's going on right now. We can look at it as like a total shit show, or we can look at it as just like a whole new beginning to an even better world. And so for me, the vision that I have is just people being more, including myself, right? When I say people, I'm just gonna say we, because collective consciousness, you know, when I heal, you heal. When you heal, I heal. When I transform, you transform, vice versa. Is with this collective consciousness rising, I truly see so much more love that we all can have for each other and for ourselves. Which means when that happens, our light shine brighter, right? Like our hearts actually send off more frequencies, which is measurable, not woo-woo. And all of us, the vision I see is all of us having to just open hearts and love, and I mean, just vortex the vibration going off. Eventually, all of that light is going to shine on any darkness that's out there. And what's going to happen? The darkness is going to be like, yep, here we are. Like, whether that's, you know, an emotion, a person, situation, a thing, all that, right? We can go anywhere there. But I truly see myself and the world that we are stepping more fiercely into love and having that be our truest nature versus fear versus, you know, listening to, you know, somebody just because they're an authority figure, just because their parents told us something, right? And really just leaving from a place of like, wait, this just feels true to me and good to me, and it makes my heart happy and makes me more in love with myself and the world. And so that means I'm going to go down that path. So I really feel that's where we're going as a collective consciousness. And the next, you know, I mean, we've been doing it during coronavirus, aka go inside and, you know, and turn off the news. But really, it's trickling faster, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch and feel.
I love that. I'm so happy that you just said everything that you said. And, you know, for any of us, it'd be easy to look at what's like currently, you know, physically manifested. And I love this reminder for all of us, because it'd be easy to look at what's currently physically manifested, whether it be viruses or craziness going on in whatever way, shape, or form, and say, yeah, this is a shit show. It'd be super easy. I think most of us would agree. At the same time, this, because of seeing that, is what has really sparked the strong desire that Taylor just expressed, as far as what she sees, as far as us being able to step more into love, being able to step more into who and what we all truly are. When she talks about stepping into love, this is the energy that all of us truly are. And so just knowing that, like for all of us, like, and I love how you mentioned, like, the more people that, you know, step into that, like, it just, the darkness won't be able to live in that type of space. I use an analogy that it will kind of seem kind of funny, but for those of you guys that are old enough, if you're not like 15, 16, 17, 18, like I don't think I have that many audience members listening that age. But if you remember when we all first got cell phones, like when they first came out, and then we all first got smartphones, like there was actually in that period people that thought smartphones were just ridiculous. Like, why do you need any of that? Like, it's silly. Like, I can call and I can text, like this is all that I need. And like literally thought that people were idiots for going to which we might have been standing in line at the Apple store at 3 a.m. This was me, to get the iPhone 1, and I could have walked in the next day and got it in the store. So I guess that's a different conversation. Like, did I need it day one, or could I have gotten it day two? But the point is, as more people and more of their friends, even if you thought it was a dumb idea, as more of your friends started having these smartphones, you eventually got a smartphone. And now, could you imagine someone saying, it just seems like stupid to have a smartphone. Like, why would you want one of those? Like, you look at them like, what is this person? Like, where do they come from? So that's what I see when it comes to what Taylor just described. As more people step into who we truly are and being that love energy, it'll just seem like the up and coming generations will be like, what is this, like, darkness, this hate over, like, it just doesn't.
Oh my gosh.
Are you even a human? Like, what is this? So this is the way I.
They're gonna look back on us and be like, why were they so like low vibe and angry and jealous? And I mean, our grandchildren are going to be like, you guys were just a bunch of hellions, right? And that's why so many people are going through spiritual awakenings, it's not all of a sudden people are talking about it. It's because we're having a rise of spiritual awakenings faster than we ever have. Well, since the Atlantean days, and it's a whole other conversation. But like, we're waking up, and people are, and the ball is rolling towards that state of love. And it's, like, I love the analogy of like the phone. Like, once your friends start waking up and they start talking about stuff that you're not understanding, and you're like, that's weird. Give it 6 months, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, no, I get what they're saying.
I love it. And that, what Taylor just said, is another reason why we can have compassion for everybody, because we're all in our different places in our journey. Our soul is all at a different place of evolution. So, I think probably the best definition of compassion that I've heard, that I typically use, is, can you still maintain your vibration? Like, even if somebody might not be experiencing their best day, we've all been there. Maybe they're super frustrated or anxious or worried or, filled with fear. You don't have to blame them you don't have to join them in that energy, but you can also be compassionate by just maintaining your place of peace or love, for them, and allow them to go through whatever they're going through. And then the words that you'll be able to speak to them will be from that place of love versus condemning them because you were in such a good mood until they came around. Like, you could go that route as well.
Yeah, because we're all in this together, right? And just because someone's more spiritually evolved doesn't make them any better.
Yeah.
They're just two humans on a path, doing the best they can with what they got, and making the choices that are aligned with them and their soul's contract in that moment. And that's awesome. Like, touche.
Absolutely. I love it. I want to ask if there's anything because obviously the internet's going to live for a long time, and people could hear this episode 10 years from now, 20 years from now, but just anything that I like to squeeze as much juice out of the humans that I'm playing with as humanly possible, because you've given lots of really cool things. But anything that's like, foundational that you want to make sure that they know from you, like, make sure that, if you've heard this podcast from Taylor Simpson, like, you've gotten like these key components. You've been doing it the whole time, but I just want to make sure if there's anything that wants to flow out of you.
Yeah, I'm clear audience. The word choice keeps just like popping in my head. I'm like, okay, choice, I hear you. And so we have a choice. And my style as a coach, I'm very like a tough love coach, but with that feminine energy, the softer energy. But really, the message that needs to come through is like the listener, right? The viewer, you have a choice at every single moment, how you feel, how you show up, what you say, what you think, right? And we can say, well, the childhood you grew up in was, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's like, I don't sign up for that, because we've all been through, shitty stuff growing up. Like, are you kidding me? Talking about the human experience. But we get to make a choice, right, to heal that. We get to make a choice to leave the relationship. Oh, but we have a home together and children. Oh, when you make a choice to stay in that relationship, which means you make a choice to not continue to complain about it, right? You make a choice to either continue to block money or receive it, right? If you want to keep choosing to block it because you're not ready to work on your unworthiness wounds, then that's a choice you get to make, and that's perfectly fine. But then you can't complain about how you don't have enough money. So really, the world that we're shifting into is a new earth, and going from 3D to 5D, energetic, not a place for anyone who thinks it's a place. And so when we shift that 3D to fifth dimensional frequency, really being sovereign in the choices that we make it them, whether they're good or bad. Again, there's no such thing as neutrality in the fifth dimension, but really saying, okay, this is the choice I'm making, and I need to then accept the consequences of my thought, of my feelings, of my actions from moment to moment to moment to moment. Because like Eckhart Tolle says, the book Power of the Now was the book that woke me up. That was the very first book that I read. And the only control you have over anything is how you choose to feel, literally in this moment. And it will be a direct reflection magnet for what's going to come to you in the next moment, good or bad.
I love it. Wow. You just said so many things just now that inspire me, and our journeys have been similar in multiple ways. That without the power of now, the only time in my life that I would consider myself to have like an ongoing like depression going, this was probably in like 2011, and just circumstances. I was living in Los Angeles, and just that external circumstances, because at that time my whole life on the inside was determined by what was going on the outside. Like I knew nothing about reflecting from the inside, like to the outside. So good day at work, happy. Not so good, not happy. It was just like the world was living me. I probably still watched the news at that point. I was like, oh, that sucks. But I moved into a new place, Taylor, and the only thing left in this place, like the landlord just like hooked me up. The universe like hooked me up through the old landlord. And in the corner of the garage were just 4 spiritual books lined up like in the corner. And I recognized the titles of a few of them, so it made me respect all the books. And then I saw the Power of Now. I was like, that's an interesting title. Like, let me read this. And I wasn't even a huge reader at that point, but just like the universe was like, Noel, read this book. And like at that moment, it was just like, from that point, it became a practice of caring about like my right now energy. And it's just evolved so much to where I'm quick to tell people that that's all I care about, because it just makes life so simple. Because if all we have is this moment, and all that we can really choose to do is bring the energy that we choose to bring to this moment, everything else, like beyond that, is more complex than the simplicity of all we have is this moment. So I just focus on that.
I love it. Yeah. And it's only the ego that takes you out of the present moment. The ego is like, yeah, but all the problems I have, the places I have to be, right? Like, that's all ego, right? It's not who we are. It's not our true selves. So I love that. I love that you read that book, and it's true. Like, if you take all that away, all that you have enough. So how you do it.
Absolutely. I love this. For you guys that are on here live with us, if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask, because oh, here we go. As I was saying, a question came through. Let's see. Oh, it's more of a statement. If you have a question, if you guys have a question, like leave it. I have a question. If you're feeling social, I'll even bring you on for a second. But I just want to. Okay, so no, Taylor, I really, really appreciate this this time with me, and this is fun. Like this stuff that we're sharing. Oh, I knew what I wanted to say. I knew there was something. And anytime I start to slide around, there's something that I'm waiting to pop back into my mind, because it's very important. So when you mention choice, like this is so important for everybody out there. Like the only reason I do anything that I do is because awareness gives us choice. Like without awareness, like you don't even know like you're choosing anything. Like it's kind of life is just like living you, because of you're so up and down. So this is why I do everything, so that we can have the awareness, and then the choice is yours from there. Like Taylor was mentioning, if you're listening to this podcast or if you're freely on the internet, like you're free. So if you do choose something, like I've so many times in my life where I like chose to go do something, and someone maybe invited me somewhere, and it's like I do it out of obligation. Not anymore. Like I'm so good at this now. But it was a time in my life where I wasn't so good at this, and I'm sure we've all been there, where you're trying to reach people, and so you take your physical body there, but mentally you're like, I wish I would have been doing this, or I should have been doing this. I got all this work to do. And so you're not even fully there. They're not really enjoying you being there. You're not enjoying yourself being there. And so just highly recommend, like, all these new awarenesses, like, they're giving you the power of choice, and what you do with it from there. You won't hear me say, and Taylor hasn't said it this whole episode, you won't hear me say it, you should or shouldn't do anything. Do what you choose. The point of this conversation is so that you have more awareness to choose, and whatever you choose, I hope you choose something that is fun for you and fulfilling. And the good news for all of us, we share a planet with 7.7 billion humans, and the more fun and fulfilled that you are out there, and the more that you create this awesome world that we all get to share, the more fun it is for all of us. So words like utopia come to my mind, like, let's create that and enjoy it while we're here.
Amen to that. I love it.
I love it. So, well, thank you for joining us, Taylor. If you want to share with the audience anything that you have going on that they can participate in right now, or anything that you want to make them aware of.
Cool. Well, I got a quiz. Actually, I came out with a quiz a few weeks ago, and it's been so fun. It's called "What's Your Money Frequency?" And so it's a free quiz. So go take that, and you'll get like the answers. We've been building it during coronavirus, and the answer is spot on. So if you want to find out what frequency you're actually vibrating at around money, just go download that. It's TaylorSimpson.com/quiz. And I'll also share with you which chakras are overactive and underactive, and how to heal them. So it's a goodie. So go get that, and that'll support you in raising your frequency in that way.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Taylor's fun on social media as well. Since I discovered her on Instagram, I saw a post, and when you said you're a tough love coach, but still in your feminine, you were talking on your story. It was a few days ago it was like you were joking about memes, and it was like coronavirus memes. And I they're very blunt, but I agree. Very funny to
They're
me.
very blunt.
You spoke to me because, here we are, and that's, I guess, another topic of conversation right now. But I'm excited for life because now they're talking about maybe reclosing the gyms and things. I'm like, yo, chill out. Like it's okay. Like you're not gonna die. be the frequency of wellness, of well-being, which there is one. And you won't have to worry about any of these things. You have to be a match to wellness, or you be a match to sickness and disease and illness and all these things. Like vibrationally, you're going to be something. So
I choose not to be a vibrational match for coronavirus, so I won't get coronavirus because I'm not the frequency. Yeah, so
true story. What Taylor just said, I've been experiencing life this way for over 7 years since I've even had a common cold. So I'm not like anything special, but it's just symptoms are great indicators of what our vibration has been leading up. And just because you start to feel a symptom doesn't mean it has to turn into a full-out illness. So I say thank you, symptom, for the times that over the last 7 years I've even experienced, like maybe my nose is running, maybe I'm sneezing, maybe my throat, maybe I have a headache. I'm like, how's my vibe been leading up to that symptom? It could be better. Answer to the question is always it could be better. And then I just am mindful of it from there.
I love it.
So awesome. Well, appreciate you. Yeah, appreciate you guys out there. And thank you so much, Taylor. I'm happy that we're connected now. And I always like to affirm that this is our first co-creation, and there will be more in whatever capacity when timing is right. And happy to know that you exist on this beautiful planet, and for the work that you're doing, and looking forward to connecting with you whenever timing is right. Thank you guys who are on live with us. Share this if you guys are out there watching this live, or when it comes out on iTunes and Spotify. So definitely benefit someone. And so beautiful that we live in a world where one click of a button that says share could impact another human in such a profound way. And so I just highly encourage everybody to do that whenever possible. And thank you guys that have been rating and reviewing the podcast. And I'll keep having awesome conversations with beautiful humans like Taylor. And we'll talk to you guys soon in another episode. Have a beautiful day whenever you hear this, whether it's now or 20 years from now. Love it.
Thank you, Al.
Awesome. Let me stop the stream and I'll say bye to you.
Okay, perfect.
Streaming.